Tokyo, and they're Rose Bowl bound. And the streets of Madison erupt in a celebration that's as wild as they get. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. The victory came in the early morning hours, many time zones and thousands of miles away. The players, of course, celebrated in Tokyo, while the fans in Madison, well, they tore up the town. An extra scary sight with the all-too-recent memory of a celebration there gone wrong. The crowd surged onto State Street immediately after the victory was sealed.
We're going to Pasadena, that's all I got. Pasadena!
The street filled with fans pouring out of bars and the nearby campus.
Everybody's just excited about everything. They're happy. It's right here in the heart. Everybody smells the roses, and everybody's going.
The celebration, 31 years in the making. A lot of football frustration vented after decades of denial. Some came just to watch.
I think this is great. It's been a great time.
How long have you been down here watching this?
About as soon as the game over. I came over as soon as the game was over.
Do you think things are getting a little out of hand?
No, not yet. Really not.
What about jumping on the cars and stuff?
That's a bit out of hand.
Out of hand indeed. As the celebration grew, fans jumped on top of police cars. 2 cruisers were damaged. Trees torn down. 40 to 50 streetlights smashed. Newspaper vending boxes overturned. The goalposts rocked. Some even climbed to the top. Again, police moved in, trying to keep some control.
I got fire rescue coming in, and I wanted to look at it.
Hundreds of people almost died at the Michigan game, and it's ridiculous this mentality that's going on. The people are going to get hurt again.
And in the very place where those fans were trampled just weeks ago, the sounds of victory filled the Madison morning air. And police tell us they made several arrests before things actually quiet down there in Madison. Well, today is one of the biggest days, of course, ever in the history of Wisconsin football. And Mark Johnson joins us now. He has a story of two very big games.
Incredible weekend, really, if you think about it, with the Packers-Bears rivalry and what happened last night in Tokyo. This is really the biggest weekend in Wisconsin State football history when you think of everything combined and what it all means. Now, the Badgers, as you just mentioned, headed to Pasadena for the first time since '63. Pat Richter was there as the All-American split end that season, and he returns now as the athletic director who hired the man that turned a 1-10 football team around in just 4 years. That capped off and culminated last night in Tokyo. Terrell Fletcher, after the Badgers trailed Michigan State 7-3 early, broke off this 40-yard run that helped give the Badgers a 24-7 halftime lead, and it kind of dictated the way this game would go from there. Badgers held off the Spartans in the second half, and for the first time in 3 decades, the Badgers Rose Bowl bound. Barry Alvarez was even surprised when asked if he thought that this process would be this short in coming.
I didn't think we were ready to contend for this championship of this league. This is a great league. The Big Ten is a great league, and I'm proud to represent us.
Here we go. We got the roses right here. Big bouquet of roses.
Now, take a look at who was among the first to congratulate Coach Alvarez. Tommy Thompson there, right there, alongside Bucky Badger. And we, as I mentioned, are Rose Bowl bound. And this is very important now. The Rose Bowl, UCLA taking on Wisconsin, starting 3:30 live on New Year's Day right here on Channel 12 and ABC Sports. Meanwhile, in Chicago today, the
Really is a tale of 2 teams, you might say. So, which is the fans' favorite? Well, according to our very unscientific survey, we asked 2 guys walking down the street, one with a Packers shirt on, the other with a Badgers shirt on. And the answer is...
Our rivalry's big, but we haven't seen anything like this with the Badgers in a lot of years, so you got to go with the Roses.
Hell yeah, we've been waiting too long for this, so this is incredible.
And the Badger celebration shows no signs of slowing down today. And as we near Christmas, of course, Dwayne Gay found out the key word is, well, of course, merchandising.
If you were going to get a read on Badger Mania, where would you go? State Street? Madison?
Fam, the magic of Madison. Let's put on our Bucky Badger sweatshirts, head down to State Street, join in the post-game party. It's Rose Bowl fever.
We don't even know. We're in a feeding frenzy.
Lines of people trying to get their hands on anything that says Rose Bowl.
I only have to pull one out because there are 5 of them all alike.
And if the spirit so moves you, there are plenty of people who'll sell you a ticket to the Rose Bowl. Those start at $3.49. Or if you can't afford to go, you can read about it. Of course, we met people today who are doing both.
I'm there. Got my ticket. I'm on the plane and there. We're seniors, and you know, we waited 4 years for this. This is going in our photo album.
Something to keep forever.
After being here freshman year and we were 1 in 10, we deserve this.
And oh yeah, by the way, doesn't the state of Wisconsin have another football team?
Oh, it's going to be a good New Year's Day. It's going to be an awesome New Year's Day.
Well, not here today. Dwayne Gay, Channel 12 News, Madison.
And Dwayne tells us one sports store in Madison started printing Rose Bowl sweatshirts at about 1 o'clock this morning, and we're told that they've been pumping them out, you might say, ever since. Well, now that you know what to wear and where you're going, how are you going to get there, right? Well, we sent Annie Schwartz out to research the different ways that you can make your own Run for the Roses.
Thank you for calling Carlson Travel. This is Kim. Can I help you?
You could be beyond help if you haven't made those Rose Bowl arrangements.
We're getting tickets to the Rose Bowl.
Pasadena by air will cost you $800 to $1,000, and hotels, if you can get one, start at $100 a night. And game tickets, don't even mention it.
Really?
You can leave the driving to them. Greyhound will get you there in 2 days. Leaves December 30th, 3:30 a.m. That's in the morning, folks. $139 round trip if you buy your ticket 2 weeks before. Now, the bus is probably the cheapest way for you to go. You get your own seat, too, if nobody sits next to you. And potty stops aren't a problem. But just remember this. If you're traveling between January 2nd and 4th, you can't use your discounted ticket. The train will also take you 2 days. No sleeper cars left, though. Only coach seats at $393. Or you could go by car. The drive to Pasadena from Milwaukee is 2,138 miles one way. It'll take you 2 days driving straight through. Now, the cost of driving varies with the kind of gas mileage your car gets. And driving out to Pasadena does have its drawbacks. Now, Pasadena. Here's Annie Schwartz, Channel 12 News, Milwaukee.
And some travel agencies offer bowl packages that include game tickets, the hotel, and airfare. And Annie says calling around right now is really the only way to see what's left out there. Johnson has it all, and he's coming up next in sports.
Flower is a rose, and its team is headed for the most illustrious and richest bowl game in the world. A 41-20 win over Michigan State last night in Tokyo gave the Badgers a 9-1-1 record. That ties them with Ohio State for the conference championship, and it sends them to Pasadena for the January 1st Rose Bowl against 8-3 UCLA. Now, last night taking on Michigan State in Tokyo at the Tokyo Bowl. They had to come back from an early 7-3 Spartan lead. Terrell Fletcher, his run right here, 40 yards, breaking tackles all the way into the end zone. Badgers up 24-7 at halftime. The Spartans cut it to a 10-point game in the fourth. But then Darrell Bevel finds Lee Doremus for the score. Touchdown there, and Brent Moss, who would end the day with 152 yards, setting a school record with his 10th consecutive 100-yard game, capped it off there. Barry Alvarez goes from 1-10 3 seasons ago to the Rose Bowl in 1993.
We wanted to win this for the state of Wisconsin, our great alumni. They've been fantastic, and we're just happy to go.
You want to come in?
Yeah, and now here's the way the final Associated Press college football poll for the regular season wraps up. With Florida State and Nebraska, they will meet in the Orange Bowl. West Virginia taking on Florida in the Sugar Bowl is third. Notre Dame taking on Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl is fourth. Then it's Auburn, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida, and there you see the Badgers finish up 9th in the nation, Miami. And then look at Ohio State. Finishes 11th, followed by Penn State is 13th. UCLA, the team the Badgers will meet in the Rose, is 14th. Indiana 21st, Michigan 23rd.
Wait is over. Thanks to that 41-20 win over Michigan State in Tokyo, they're going to the Rose Bowl for the first time since 1963. Barry Alvarez's boys meet UCLA on New Year's Day. Terrell Fletcher broke open a 10-7 game with that 40-yard dash into the end zone. 17-7 Wisconsin in the first half. It would be 24-7 at the break. Fletcher and Brent Moss combined for 265 yards rushing and 4 TDs. Moss broke a school record by going over 100 yards for the 10th consecutive game, 41-20 the final. That sets off a major celebration in Milwaukee. I talked to the owner about what this means to the community.
This is unbelievable. This was a great night. It's you know, the city has waited for this. I think this is probably the most enjoyable evening that I've had since 1982, and I think this evening's even more enjoyable.
That's exactly the way it felt to yours truly last night and early this morning as well. The Badgers, by the way, move up to 7th and 9th in the national polls. UCLA, their Rose Bowl opponent, is 14th.
Tonight's victory over Michigan State in Tokyo. That means the Badgers go to the Rose Bowl for the first time in over 30 years. That's our news.
In 31 years with its win over Michigan State in Tokyo last night, the Badgers will face UCLA. We'll show you...
4 years, baby! We waited 4 years!
The wait is over now. The Wisconsin Badgers are Rose Bowl bound. Good evening. They did it. A big win in Tokyo paves the way for a trip to Pasadena.
The 41-20 win over Michigan State gave Badger fans everywhere something to cheer about. We have team reports. In the wee hours of the morning, when the Badger win was inevitable, fans from Milwaukee to Madison let loose. But nowhere did excitement run higher than Tokyo itself.
Number 1, baby. Big Ten champs, baby. Right here, baby.
Oh, the sweet smell of victory. It's been 31 years since Wisconsin made the Rose Bowl. And these fans weren't even born yet. Good enough reason to hit the streets in Madison in full force. The win came in early December, but as far as players and fans are concerned, this is the best Christmas present they could get. Now what Badger fans are trying to figure out is how to get to Pasadena. Here's Tim Blotz with that story.
For those who don't remember, this was the Rose Bowl 31 years ago. It's been a long dry spell, but the Badgers are finally back. For the team, passage to Pasadena is all but assured. For everyone else, it's a mad scramble.
Tickets to the Rose Bowl, reception.
The flight is a charter.
It is reserved seating, yes.
At Choice Travel, agents sold more than 50 Rose Bowl packages in their first hour of business today.
The phones are like ringing right away, and people are ready to put a couple thousand cash or credit card immediately.
About 200 four-night packages, including Rose Bowl tickets, are still up for grabs. And it just may be one of the best ways to assure a seat. That's because the Rose Bowl is allocating UW only 18,000 tickets. Of those, 5,700 will go to the Alumni Association, 3,700 will go to booster groups such as the W Club, with only 3,000 going to students and another 1,000 going to season ticket holders in the form of a lottery.
While the number of tickets available through UW is limited, actually getting a hold of one of those tickets may be easier than getting to Pasadena.
Most holiday flights from Milwaukee to Los Angeles are already booked. A check of airlines shows only United with available seats on New Year's Eve for $930.
Airfare is very scarce. It's over the holiday. It's just anybody going anywhere west is going to be in trouble.
All the more reason why pre-packaged deals may be the only ticket to the biggest game in 31 years. For the night team, Tim Blotz, today's TMJ4.
Love that old footage.
That's right.
Sports director Hank Stoddard joins us with more on this weekend's football action.
How about you, Hank? You got your tickets yet?
For Pasadena?
Yeah.
The media gets in on passes, Bill. You know that.
Oh, sure, sure. I forgot.
On probably the biggest football weekend in Wisconsin history, the Badgers were as impressive as the Packers were disappointing. Let's start with the good news from Japan.
Number 1, baby. Big Ten champs, baby. Right here, baby. Rose in.
By whipping Michigan State 41-20 last night in Tokyo, everything was coming up roses for the Badgers. They meet UCLA on New Year's Day as the Big Ten's Rose Bowl representatives.
This probably really tested everything when you come all the way over here and where you have a million outside distractions. But for them to stick with it the way they have, it really makes all of us feel proud.
It was the greatest feeling in my life. Most of us here on this team have never been champions. You've been on some good teams, but never quite made it all the way. And this is the greatest feeling you could ever have.
Athletic director Pat Richter was a player on the Badgers' last Rose Bowl team back in 1963. None of the current players were around then, but they realize the significance of their achievement.
It's the Roses. We're going, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for support.
This football team would be celebrating a trip to the Rose Bowl. We'll have more on the surprising Badgers from Tokyo. The Badgers are going back to the Rose Bowl. Needing a victory in Tokyo, they overwhelmed Michigan State, finishing the regular season with a 9-1-1 record and sharing the Big Ten championship.
Hey, Mom, we're going to the Rose Bowl. Yeah, yeah. Woo!
The Badgers left no doubt they deserved to be in Pasadena on New Year's Day, totally dominating the Spartans on offense. Both Terrell Fletcher and Brent Moss rushed for over 100 yards.
My mom gonna say, "Oh, you already had your Christmas present." Well, I'm just happy that I was healthy, through the whole season. I had a good season, and I'm glad the coaches, put trust in me with the ball and everything, and I'm just thankful. I'm just grateful for it.
The Badgers had good reason to celebrate. In 1990, the first year for Barry Alvarez as head coach, they were 1-10.
We've come a long way, and start and to have a bunch of people, kids, coaches, secretary, everybody, to stick with it and all work towards one common goal and to finally achieve it. It is tremendously gratifying.
When Rose Bowl caps were given out to the players, some were almost pinching themselves to make sure this was really happening.
Unbelievable. I mean, we're a champion. Last couple of years has been pretty tough, and all of a sudden now we're a champion, and we gone from being the worst in the Big Ten to being a laugher to now we're to being the best and representing the Big Ten.
You see on TV teams win NBA championships and NFL championships. You see them put their hat on at the end of the game, and you just imagine, try to imagine how it feels. But you can't understand how it feels until you do it yourself. To know that you actually are the champions, it feels great.
And I couldn't find mine at first. I had to go get one, but it was great, man. I mean, the Roses on top of that W. Oh man, great. It was great. I can't believe I've never been champion before in my life.
Real life, real news. Today's TMJ4.
Now breaking up. News of today's final rankings comes at a timely moment. The Rose Bowl champion Wisconsin Badgers finished the season as the nation's 6th best team, that according to the Associated Press. They are 5th in the coaches' poll. It was a season which ended in fitting style with a workmanlike 21-16 win over the flashy UCLA Bruins yesterday, a win that makes everything else, including the final poll, pretty much a moot point.
Shoot, I mean, we weren't expected to do anything anyway, so it feels good just to be in wherever we're going to be rated. It feels great just to accomplish what we did.
The crowd is a very big part. It's like our 5th, our extra man, our 13th man, and I'm just glad they're here. They was here for us, and we got the most fans here.
All right, and here's the way the AP sees the final top 25. Florida State edging Notre Dame. You see the margin of victory for the Seminoles. Notre Dame finishing 2nd, followed by Nebraska and Auburn, Florida. Wisconsin is number 6. West Virginia, Penn State, Texas A&M, and Arizona round out the top 10. Ohio State finishes 11th, Tennessee 12th, Boston College 13th, and the Wolverines from Michigan 21st.
Fans return to Mitchell Airport from Pasadena.
Wisconsin, you come from Wisconsin,
yeah! Sterling Sharp did reach a pair of milestones in the game. This catch broke his own NFL single-season reception record of 108. Later, Sharp made his 500th career catch. The Lions, though, made all the plays that mattered on the scoreboard. Eric Lynch found the end zone twice here, putting Detroit ahead for good at 23-20 in the 4th quarter. The final score, 30-20. So Detroit wins the division. The Packers get a wild card berth, and the teams will play in the same stadium, the Silverdome, next weekend. We'll find out the game time later tonight, Vince.
Well, if we can only win one of the two, the one to win, I guess, is next week, huh?
That's what we'll all be saying if they do it next Sunday or Saturday, depending on when they play.
All right, Tim, we'll catch you a little bit later on. Of course, for Packer fans, it's easy to believe that the outcome of today's game would have been different if it had been played outdoors. And many of them will tell you that's where it should be played always. Just ask the family that our Phil Harris visited this afternoon.
Some football fans tailgate, and some fans watch the game on TV. Well, the Kaisers of West Allis and their friends do both. They put the TV outside where these diehard Packer backers say you get a real feel for the game, even if the game is played indoors.
This is the atmosphere. This is Green Bay. This is the way football should be played. They should be playing this outdoors.
I think it adds a little bit to it, a little bit more excitement, and you can feel the weather. Even though they're playing in a dome today, we're still outside.
Grandpa Jerry Kaiser says backing the Pack was always big as the kids were growing up, but he never expected this.
No way, not to this level here, but they are crazy kids. Packer fans all the way.
They've done this enough to know. You dress warm, and colors, green and gold. Everything's green and gold, even the Jell-O. There are a couple key words that are the operatives here: tradition and Packers. The tradition of watching the last Packers game outdoors has happened for the last 11 years here. It looks like that tradition will continue.
In fact, I asked my son the other day, it was last week, I said, once we're too old to do this, will you do it? And he said, Dad, we're going to do it better.
If children get their values from their upbringing, there's little doubt what team these kids will cheer. In West Allis, Phil Harris, TV6 News.
Former Green Bay Packer John Anderson's perspective on the game later in the TV6 Sports. Well, despite today's Packer loss, the thrill of yesterday's sweet Rose Bowl victory lingers. It followed Badger fans arriving early this morning at Milwaukee's Mitchell International Airport on their way home from Pasadena. Our Kelly Swoop found out that fans were still soaring when their planes touched down early this morning.
Before the crack of dawn, some Badger fans were already back home in Milwaukee. All decked out in their red and white attire, some were a little exhausted, but most were still gloating over the Rose Bowl victory.
LA has never experienced something like that before. There's 60,000 people in the stands after the game, and you know, except the UCLA people who left after the third quarter to beat the traffic. By the light of the moon, by
the excitement here at the airport couldn't compare with all the fun at the game, and some of the Badger fans say they weren't ready for it all to end.
It was wonderful. It was excellent. It was the best time of my life.
The band was playing. Time was running out of the quarter. They used the sidelines, called the TOs.
Even the smallest Badger fans came home all smiles as charter groups made their way into the airport by late morning.
The parade was spectacular, and then the game, what else can you say about the game? It was just unbelievable.
But you can't believe this. Badger fans say they don't want to wait another 3 decades before they go to the Rose Bowl again. Kelly Swoop, TV6 News, Milwaukee.
Now, that's a report on the fans coming home. The Badger football team is set to arrive in Madison tomorrow evening around 5 o'clock. Big pep rally at Camp Randall, set to welcome home the Rose Bowl champions, which, by the way, you can watch live right here on TV6 tomorrow evening. Of course, Madison's nickname is Madtown, and last night it certainly lived up to it. The Wisconsin faithful who couldn't make it out to Pasadena settled for the next best place, Madison. Badger fans surged out onto State Street celebrating the big win.
I love Barry Alvarez. I love his wife. I love all the players. It's great for Wisconsin.
Go Bucky! See you next year, Pasadena! Woo!
They were loud. They were boisterous. Essentially, though, they were peaceful. Madison police report very few problems.
After winning its first ever Rose Bowl game on Saturday, it was a scene that loyal red and white followers had to savor after years and years of mediocrity. The Badgers defeated UCLA 21-16 to make a complete comeback from a 1-10 record just 4 years ago. We'd also like to note for you the national championship matchup in the Orange Bowl. A lot of folks maybe didn't see this. Florida State made a field goal in the final minute, then survived a Nebraska miss at the gun to win 18-16 and claim its first ever mythical title. Here's the Associated Press poll out today. The CNN USA Today poll has the same order but does not recognize Auburn, meaning that Florida and the Badgers move up a notch. And this year's Marquette, Wisconsin.
W Sports Story of the Century, a big red win in Pasadena yesterday as the Badgers upset the UCLA Bruins with a dramatic 21-16 victory. The Badger defense played a big part. 6 UCLA turnovers. Triumphant players and fans alike celebrated on the field after the game, and the UW band performed a rousing 5th quarter like none other before. The elation over the Badgers.
Badgers win the Rose Bowl. You can't ask for anything more. Badgers win. It was like a dream come true. It was the best thing that ever happened.
I came out of the Rose Bowl and some guy was selling them out of the trunk of his car right after the game. Now, you can't get it hotter off the press than that.
Now, eventually, many of those folks finished partying and headed for home. Most of the Wisconsin faithful arrived back in the Badger State with red hats, red shirts, and red eyes. Mike Strelo has their stories.
We did it! They did it all right. They brought back a big victory and memories to last a lifetime.
Great stadium, tons of red and white, and just a real great experience. One of those once-in-a-lifetime things.
This was John Hewitt's second Rose Bowl. He played offensive tackle in the '63 game.
Yesterday was so exciting because it was 31 years. I almost could tears in my eyes, but it was great for the kids. I mean, we deserved it.
More than a dozen charters flew into snowy Milwaukee from sunny California.
Weather was really nice. Everything was nice.
And everything was coming up roses.
I made it last through the whole game. I had to be careful that nobody stepped on it when everybody was standing up and cheering.
But of course, there were Badger fans who returned home with some very unpleasant memories of Southern California and Rose Bowl '94.
They were cheated out of tickets and the chance to witness Badger football history.
Made it feel bad for the people out there, and they didn't seem to have any other alternative.
There was a shortage of tickets, but not Badger memorabilia.
That's it.
A picture-perfect Rose Bowl for former Governor Lee Dreyfus and his 7-year-old grandson.
And to see the stands at least 2/3 filled with red. Unbelievable.
A fantastic finish to a magical season, a season to savor.
All the way. Next year.
For the night team, Mike Strelo, today's TMJ4.
The team returns to Madison tomorrow, and today's TMJ4 will bring you live coverage of the big Welcome Home rally at Camp Randall Stadium. That's beginning at 5 o'clock.
Not only are fans crazy about the Badgers, so are local retailers. Badger paraphernalia is the hottest item in department stores these days. After Wisconsin wins the Rose Bowl, it seems customers can't get enough of Badger t-shirts, sweatshirts, and baseball caps.
Badgers up to number 5 in the final CNN USA Today coaches poll. Florida State is number 1, much to the chagrin of Notre Dame fans, but that's another story. Now here's Dennis Krause with a Rose Bowl wrap-up.
January 1st, 1994. The day and its images will linger in the mind for an awfully long time. From the Badgers' faces before taking the field to celebrating their first Rose Bowl championship.
No one knew who we were. We showed them today with the Rose Bowl champs, boys. Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
It feels great. It feels real good. This is not only for us, but it's for all the people from the Big Ten, the state of Wisconsin, the whole area.
Moments after completing a spectacular 10-1-1 season, Badgers coach Barry Alvarez was already looking ahead.
Our guys have got to come back. We've got a good nucleus back. I think we'll be a better football team next year. We'll have better players. Whether they can gel and have the chemistry that this group have, I don't know. I just feel like from now on, we'll be able to compete with anybody.
Indeed, the Badgers program is going to be good for a while. There may be other trips to Pasadena, possibly even a national title. But it's hard to imagine anything being as sweet or as pure as yesterday. Dennis Krause, today's TMJ4 Sports.
We continue here in the early portion of 1994, and we're going to switch gears a little bit, talking about the Badgers. You've covered a lot of major events in this state. What'd you think?
I thought it was remarkable.
Yeah.
Really. I really thought it was remarkable. It was one of the few sporting events, I think, that I really looked at the television and said, this is an incredible historical moment in my life. I mean, just not even my sports casting career, just an incredible sports moment. I had a ball watching that game.
Good. Danny?
Well, considering I was born about 2 months after the last time they played in the Rose Bowl,
Had to
I
get
thought
that
it was
in,
pretty
didn't you?
unusual. I had to get that in, sorry.
I was born a couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, years and years and years. The part that I liked best about it was the fact that for once I actually got to watch a game on TV. Usually I'm at the game and you can't cheer. And for once I could sit and cheer. And it was something really to cheer about because they keep astounding everyone. How many people that were watching at the end of the game really thought the Badgers would hold on to win? It looked like UCLA had all the momentum, but then they made the mistakes. And the Badgers have been doing that to people all year. I don't think UCLA coughed it up as much as the Badgers made them cough up the football, and they made them make mistakes.
I've got a question for you. You were there at the ball game, and there was a lot said and a lot in the Wire report after the game about all the trash talking that was occurring during the game, and also before the game. A lot of the sound bites that we heard talked about how the UCLA Bruins were trying to intimidate the Badgers before the game. Did you hear that? And
Mark, you know, seriously, I have a very strong feeling where that came from, and that came because of the fact that before the contest started, about somewhere around 45 minutes to an hour, close to 10 to 20,000 Badger fans had already made their way into the Rose Bowl. Wow. They absolutely outnumbered everybody out there, and when the team, UCLA, came out and saw that, and then later on when they came out and saw close to 60,000 people there, they felt like they were a lonely stepchild. Their little group of fans were over about 30,000 of them all by themselves, and they were totally outnumbered. I think they felt like they literally had to start talking trash to the Badgers to try to get themselves pumped up. They were lost out there for a while. They really were. And once it started, it just kept going and going, and I thought UCLA had the momentum early. And then all of a sudden the running game started going for the Badgers. They took it in, and I think UCLA realized that they were in trouble, and they used everything they could to try to intimidate, and the talking with Stokes started happening. What a phenomenal athlete he is. I'll tell you what, I feel very lucky to have been on the sidelines and watching the game. So at this point, let's go back about 24 hours. It was just fantastic to watch. Let's take a look at the game one more time. Barry Alvarez has the team fired up before the game yesterday. A lot of reporters of the game noting that it seemed the Badgers played with a lot more heart than the Bruins did. It looked like the Badgers may have been in over their heads early on. J.J. Stokes, what a phenomenal athlete. First-round draft pick. Was a man they could not stop, too big and strong for the Badgers secondary, but they did keep him out of the end zone. Something UCLA could not do, however, to Brent Moss. Moss was the workhorse for the Badgers. He had 160 yards, that coming in 36 carries. He got into the end zone on Wisconsin's second possession as they took a 7-3 lead. Yeah. All right, celebration time. Moss striking again late in the half, and it was hard to tell. It really was. A lot of UCLA fans thought that he did not, but it was hard to tell if he actually crossed the goal line, but the refs say he did. You take a look. He was working for it, folks, and they gave him the touchdown. Just when it looked like the Badgers might make a runaway with it, however, the momentum shifted. UCLA was a good team. Badgers stopped on 4th and 1. Leading to some pushing and shoving, and folks, there comes the trash talking. It had been building all day long. That turned into ejections for both Mark Montgomery and Lee DeRamus. Barry Alvarez was really hot under the collar at that time. Bruins kept shooting themselves in the foot. 6 turnovers, including 5 fumbles. This one by Ricky Davis led to another Badger score. This was huge. Now the play of the game, and it's just all the members of the media just looked at each other. He never did it during the course of the season. The fleet-footed Darrell Bevell. He of the great juke at the 5-yard line. Yeah, watch that move. Oh, wow. He's into the end zone. Just, I don't think he could believe he was there. But he does a good job of celebration in the end zone. He must have gotten in the end zone once before. The Bruins would have the Badgers sweating it out in the end. A fourth-quarter touchdown cut the lead to 5 points, and Wayne Cook had them deep in Badger territory with time running out, but can only run up the middle as time expires. Folks, this was just phenomenal at the end of the game. You take a look at it. He honestly, I think, failed to realize that he was not going to be able to get a playoff. The Badgers win. Barry Alvarez, it's a dream season. And I've been asked this a lot before. Are they that good, or was it a combination of things? I thought they were an excellent team. I think they were overachievers, but I think they took advantage of some things that you don't happen every day in the Big Ten. First of all, they did not have to play Penn State. They played Michigan. They played Ohio State at home. And the Tokyo trip was a godsend. A lot of people thought it was going to be terrible that they had to go over to Michigan State and win that game. You know what? That trip to Pasadena in the Rose Bowl, it was nothing. That was a 4-hour trip as compared to 15 hours. They had gone to Tokyo. They had blasted Michigan State Spartans out of the Tokyo Dome over there. They were confident and relaxed, and Barry Alvarez did a superlative job of keeping them emotionally cool for the first 3 or 4 days out
And it was nice in L.A., too, because some of the people spoke the language.
Yeah. Well,
Very
some
few.
of them, not all the LA people.
But you know what? The one thing that everybody's talking about already, they talk about no respect for the Badgers. During the broadcast of the game, they start talking about next year already, the schedule next year. Okay, yeah, they won because they had the games at home this year. Now they have to go to Michigan and Ohio State and Colorado next year. But you know what? They have a lot of talent that's coming back that didn't even get a chance to play this year. And they're not losing much. So I would guess that the Badgers would have to be the team to beat in the Big Ten right away next year. That's going to be a real coaching job for Barry Alvarez to keep everybody, to keep their heads level. Yeah, they won it, but
what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, what happened to Michigan this year? Everybody thought they'd be in the top 5. They lost 4 games.
Yeah, Barry and the crew said yesterday, in fact, I think he told you that they don't get a chance to relish this moment for very long. Tomorrow they've got the big pep rally in Madison. Of course, we'll be there for the 5, 6, and the 10 o'clock shows tomorrow, and I hope you join us for that. But he said after that, they go
Nice
right
plug.
on the road. We get those plugs in when we can. They go right on the road beginning Tuesday, and they go on a 3-week recruiting trip.
And I was just going to allude to that. The recruiting right now has got to be the most easy that it has ever been for Wisconsin. They're coming off the Rose Bowl victory. They're on national television about 4 or 5, I think 5 times this year. These kids have seen him. I think he's not going to lose. He will not lose any of the top kids here in the state of Wisconsin.
For a long time.
For a long time. And he has a good group of freshmen that really did not get a chance to play a lot, which is good. That means you had some talent there ahead of them, and they're going to work their way in. They don't lose a lot of talent, and it's going to be fun.
Is that Wisconsin or Wisconsin?
Oh, you're
We're
talking
going
about
to teach
Keith
Bob
Jackson.
Greasy how to do
the name
it.
of our state and didn't tell us. I'm still ticked off about that.
Yeah, a lot of people were calling in because Keith Jackson decided to use a little West Coast slang and call it Wisconsin.
And Bob Greasy as well, doing the Wisconsin thing. But
well,
they'll learn.
They will.
They'll learn in a hurry, too.
That's true. You talk about carryover. One of the big carryovers is the first thing you see at the beginning of the year is the preseason poll, and that is a lot of carryover from what happened this year. So let us take a look at the last, well, we're going to take a look at that a little bit, but yeah, we got one other thing. How about the celebration on the field afterwards? Did you guys have a chance to take a look at? Maybe some of the fans that were out there, flew back, are now in front of the television sets, would like to take a look at it one more time. The players were doing on the field after the game, it was fantastic. So if we can, for one more moment for the Wisconsin sports fans to savor, let's go to where the players on the field after the contest. It was an absolutely unbelievable sight as the Badgers captured the Rose Bowl trophy for the first time in school history.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
You know, they was trash talking before the game while we was in pre-game warm-up, but it's not going to take us out of our game. We knew what we had to do. We knew it was going to be like this, and I'm just glad in the results that we won, and then we took it to them.
Oh yeah, man, it's the greatest feeling on earth. I mean, it's my real first championship ever, and to do it in college was the best thing for me. Coming in here, we had no respect for Miller. Came right out in the paper and saying that he was unimpressed with us. And we just did the same thing we've been doing all year, just smack him in the mouth. It's a great feeling to win this game after all the trash they're talking.
Just mentioning the fact of all the cameras that were in the background, it was truly one of the most unbelievable feelings. I go back to the '82 championship for the Brewers when they went out on the field, but this was actually more powerful because I think it strung out over the entire state. And when you took a look at those kids and the emotion they had, it was one of the events that you did not want to have finished. I was supposedly to be running off the field and immediately getting inside to the locker room to do the post-game interviews. I stayed out there for about 10 minutes, enjoyed it myself. I could not. You couldn't resist going out and taking a look at it. Yes, loiterer. Let's take a look at the final Associated Press poll I think that we have right now, and we'll talk about some respect. There is Florida State University. They're unanimous. We'll show you that the coaches can be rated in the top 10. I don't agree, and I'm stating it the way it is. Auburn, you should not be there. And then Florida. Then they have Wisconsin at number 6. They should be number 5. Then the other teams out of the Big Ten, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Now let's go to the coaches poll, where they do not allow the people that
they didn't cheat this year.
They didn't cheat this year. They cheated last year. But anyhow, Florida State University, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Florida, and Wisconsin. Then it comes Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. And also we know that there was a lot of interest in the UW band. They were lights out there. They went down to Disneyland one day, marched off against UCLA. You talk about no contest. Their big day in the spotlight. You only saw a little of their efforts on the ABC coverage, so hey, we were there. We're going to take care of you. Let's bring the band on one more time. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome home rally for the Badger football team. As I think Nancy mentioned, the football team arrived in Madison about a half hour ago. We saw their plane taxiing in some of the first video that we showed you in this newscast. Football team is still not at the stadium. Several thousand people possibly on hand for this pep rally. As you can see, some members of the Badger band who are back in town are down there entertaining the crowd. And Pat Richter among those who will be speaking. Barry Alvarez already recruiting out on the West Coast, so he won't be attending today's Welcome Home rally in Madison. We'll bring you more live coverage. PM Wisconsin Badgers has sort of a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Said they should be here in a few minutes, so a big cheer went up by the crowd. So right now, kind of an anticipatory excitement here at Camp Randall Stadium. Everybody applauding. There's the final score of the Rose Bowl game, 21-16, Wisconsin versus UCLA up there. And every time they flash something about a victory, there's a responding cheer from the crowd. So it'll be just a few more minutes, and rest assured that we'll let you know as soon as the team arrives.
Okay, Nancy, we'll look for you then. Well, they're cold, but they're still waiting for their football heroes to arrive at Camp Randall Stadium. The Badger football team coming back for a big welcome home rally. Team still probably just a couple minutes.
Seeing the first entry of the Badger buses into Camp Randall Stadium. 5 buses in all, 6 buses with a police escort. And the crowd here has just exploded. Some people got here before 4 o'clock this afternoon, and the first thing to come off the bus is the Rose Bowl trophy, carried by a member of the Badger team. They have waited a long time for this day, 31 years, to have this kind of jubilation, Mike, and this kind of vindication, I would say, for a Badger team that didn't get respect until they got that Rose Bowl trophy. There were some people who wondered whether or not a crowd would turn up here at Camp Randall today because the students are out on spring break. I guess we have our answer. You can just listen to the crowd. We can now see the trophy being carried out in front of the crowd and brought home to Camp Randall Stadium. You can see that everybody trying to get a good shot of that now with the trophy being walked up onto the podium. The trophy is on the podium. The players are now coming out of the buses, and they're filing onto the field. Pat Richter up on the podium as well. Dennis, not all the players did come back with the team.
Yeah, we got J.C. Dawkins from Racine right here. J.C., what do you think?
It's great. It's great. We couldn't wait to get back to this. We couldn't wait to get back to our fans. And the weather's cold, but it's home.
Lamarck Shackelford has the Rose Bowl trophy up there. What does this kind of reception mean to come back to Madison, even though it's cold, I know?
Well, it just shows us that we have faithful followers. You know, no matter what the weather is, it would be a blizzard out here, and I don't doubt that there would be the same number of people out here.
Did you expect this kind of reception when you got here?
We did after the Japan reception, but it still feels just as great.
J.C. Dawkins from Racine Park, thank you very much. Congratulations, of course. The program beginning here on the podium. And the Badger players behind me, as you can tell, along with the cheerleaders, and they're bundled up a little bit, but they're feeling pretty good. And Pat Richter's going to address the group at this time.
Thank you, Jack. You know, we had a lot of warm weather out in L.A., but I tell you what, it's hot in here right now. The Badgers are the hottest thing going. These fine young men right in front of you did a terrific job and made us all proud to be Badgers in the state of Wisconsin, I'll tell you that. We want to get a chance to thank you all for the tremendous support that you've provided. All of you that might have been out in L.A., all of you that support us here. This is an outstanding turnout for these fine young men. Maybe we should have another game here right now. The guys are shaking. The guys are here shaking their head. No, not till next year. All right. Right now, you know, as you know, Barry is out recruiting. We've got one of his fine assistant coaches, kind of the heart and soul of that defense, a very emotional guy. He's going to introduce some of the players. I want to introduce to you Coach, Assistant, not assistant, John's here. Where's John Palermo? John first. Assistant head coach John Palermo. Where's your hand, John? Way back there, John. A little protocol. We'll introduce the assistant head coach, too, and then Dan can talk. This is John Palermo. John's the assistant head coach. Just wave your hand, John. Attaboy. There you go. John's kind of bashful in front of crowds. Now I'd like to introduce to you our defensive coordinator, a terrific young man. He's a great motivator, Dan McCarney. Dan.
How about them Badgers? Are we feeling good tonight? I tell you what, this entire season is what dreams are made of. The bottom 10 to the top 5, and ashes to the top of the mountain in 4 years. It's unbelievable, and we can't thank you enough for your support. Even though he can't be here with us tonight, as Pat said, he had to stay behind and recruit in California. How about a hand for the pulse, the heartbeat, and the entire heartbeat of this team, the 1993 National Coach of the Year, Barry Alvarez. And since Barry couldn't be here, we thought we'd introduce one of the classiest ladies you could ever meet, the woman behind the man, Mrs. Cindy Alvarez. Millions and millions of people worldwide witnessed the guts and the character of this football team and the unbelievable support of our 70,000 people out in the Rose Bowl. This team has left a legacy for many, many years to come. They've made a lot of memories we'll all relive for a long time. And let me introduce the starters that we have with us. We have 16 starters, 8 on each side of the ball. We'll have them come across the stage up here. First on defense, number 3, Kenny Gales. Good job, Kenny. Go on across, yeah, right over there, babe. Number 29, defensive back, Jeff Messenger. Number 98, linebacker Yusuf Burgess. Good job, UC. Number 50, outside backer Chris Hine. Number 85, Brian Jurowitz. Number 66, defensive tackle Mike Thompson. We got a couple guys on defense want to share a couple words with you. First of all, one of our emotional leaders, one of the top defensive tackles in the country, number 92, Carlos Fowler.
First thing I have to say is it's good to see all of y'all. I'm not sure about the
Carlos
weather,
Fowler
though.
there, Hank. Let's hear what he has to say.
I couldn't say how glad I was you guys to support us the entire year, and you made our hearts warm. You continue to do that. You have proved once again that you are the best fans in America, bar none.
And last on defense, the best nose guard in college football, number 62, Lamar Shackelford.
All right, I see y'all feeling all right out there. I just like to, give the thanks from the team, the coaches, everything, how we appreciate the support that you've given us through all these years, the downside we had, and now that you stuck through it with us, and now we're here, Rose Bowl champions.
And now our offensive starters, we have 8 of them. First of all,
Hank,
wide
interesting.
receiver,
Lamar Shackelford probably typifies that team. One of the last guys recruited by Barry Alvarez, and a guy who's probably an overachiever.
Yeah, they're all overachievers, I think, most of them anyway. Yeah. We didn't get around to doing the Packers today, and of course, this is a much more pleasant story than the Packers, but at 6 o'clock, Mike, we'll come back with Packers.
All right, Hank, thanks a lot. That's going to do it for us today.
And the 2 representatives want to share a few words with you. First of all, fullback number 32, Mark Montgomery.
Mark Montgomery wearing shorts right now. Sunglasses. Mark Montgomery, of course, the talented blocking fullback.
It's not cold out here. But truthfully, I really don't have much to say because words can't describe the way we feel. But there's 2 things that come to mind that I'm real proud of this team that we were able to achieve for you. And first of all, we were the first Wisconsin team in history to achieve 10 victories. And most importantly, we are the first Wisconsin team to win the Rose Bowl.
Mark Montgomery looking like he's still in Pasadena, California with the shades and the shorts. Dan McCarty laughing.
Not only the MVP in the Big Ten, but the MVP in the Rose Bowl, number 33, Brent Moss.
The Racine native, Brent Moss, who gained 158 yards in the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl MVP also with shorts taking the podium now. Very soft-spoken, Brent Moss. These will be short words, but the crowd will love it.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Wisconsin? I still got on my shades because it was warm down there. I'm sorry y'all couldn't be there, but I know y'all was pulling for us. I just like to say thanks a lot.
Brent Moss says he's returning next year. He wants to come back for his senior year here. He was touted as being a first-round pick, but he says he's going to go and fulfill his final and his senior year at Wisconsin. All right, they're going to sing Varsity here to close things out. The rest of the team, the guys who didn't get a chance to play in the ball game are here as well. But again, a number of the players did not make it here. Here's Varsity. And with that, the crowd of some 5,000 says adieu to the 1994 Rose Bowl champs. Quite a spectacle here at Camp Randall in Madison. Dwayne?
Yeah, it certainly was, Mark. You know, that varsity song has been, you know, it's been emotional every time they've been singing it in the past week or so, and it seemed like it was again here today. It's kind of a perfect way to wrap this up. Okay, what's happening right now, the crowd is starting to disperse after varsity and on Wisconsin, and the team has walked off the far end of the field. I think Mark Johnson is going to go down and try to talk to some of the team members, and we'll be hearing from them a little bit later.
Rah-rah indeed. Varsity echoes through Camp Randall Stadium as fans give the Badger football team a hero's welcome home. Good evening. Well, they left sunny California and arrived in wintry Wisconsin this evening. But despite the cold, the Badgers got a very warm welcome home. Several thousand fans attending that huge rally at Camp Randall. And that's where we join our Nancy Chandler live. Hi, Nance.
Hi, Mike. It was just great. It ended, I would say, just about, 20 minutes or so ago, but people started gathering as early as 4 o'clock this afternoon. They were so excited to welcome home their champions. Tim Blatz has been here with me this afternoon, and Tim, I think you would agree that it was a very exciting event, and Badger fans just couldn't stay away.
This was a good rally, Nancy, and the reason why is there's been so much excitement because many people have never seen a win like this in 31 years, and the first Rose Bowl championship ever. In fact, we had easily between 10 and 12,000 people in the stands for this rally that lasted about a half an hour. It was a good length of a program. And for those of you who weren't here, didn't get a chance to see it, just coming home within the last half hour, let's take a look now at some of the highlights.
I tell you what, this entire season is what dreams are made of. The bottom 10 to the top 5 and ashes to the top of the mountain in 4 years. It's unbelievable, and we can't thank you enough for your support.
What a weekend, and what a finish for Wisconsin. A good basketball team, a hockey team that's coming on strong again, and a football team that's a champion. It's fantastic.
I just like to, give the thanks from the team, the coaches, everything, how we appreciate the support that you've given us through all these years, the downside we had, and now that you stuck through it with us, and now we're here, Rose Bowl champions.
And we like varsity so much that we thought we'd play it for you again.
That's right. The whole place was swaying just a short time ago.
Everyone's swaying and swinging their hands. A neat song, and I think probably now the state anthem here in Wisconsin after the Badgers bring home that Rose Bowl trophy.
You may be right about that, Tim. Surprisingly, there were some who thought that there wouldn't be a very big crowd here today because the students are out on holiday. And actually, it was the case that things were a little bit quieter than normal outside of Camp Randall Stadium during the day. As a matter of fact, because the students are on holiday break, even State Street was just a bit calm today, probably calmer than usual. But the Rose Bowl championship is selling lots of papers and lots of sweatshirts. At the name of the game on State Street, Rose Bowl clothing is selling fast.
Coming straight from the airport into the store, it's been really incredible. Coming in, buying championship designs, buying just regular Rose Bowl merchandise, it's been really exciting.
I have a brother-in-law and a sister that live in Vista, California, and they said, geez, if you get up to Mass and pick up some nice sweatshirts for us, and then I got a brother in Iowa. He said the same thing. Well, you're going to get them one, get me one too.
A lot of people really feel like buy now because you never know whether it's going to be 31 more years before the Badgers make it back to Pasadena. Certainly we hope not, and certainly it bodes well that Barry Alvarez stayed out on the West Coast to do a little bit of recruiting so that we can have teams that go on back there and participate in the Rose Bowl. The hoopla is dying down though now. It's pretty quiet here at Camp Randall Stadium. But a
little cooler here than Pasadena, but a warm greeting for the Badgers. We'll hear from the Rose Bowl champs when we come back. Yeah, there's still some of them wearing shorts, which were not appropriate here in Madison because it dropped quite a bit from Pasadena, but they are still riding high, about 10 to 12,000 Badger fans here at Camp Randall to welcome them home. And I talked to a couple of the star Badger players.
It's a nice prep rally, you know, to welcome us back home, and I appreciate it much, but I'm just so tired. We partied so much that I'm so sleepy. I slept through the whole flight, and I'm still tired.
Rose Bowl MVP. Can you believe it still?
I can't believe it because my name stays on that as MVP for history, so I made history.
We always said we had the best fans. When we come home and it's cold out here and the fans sit here, 10,000 fans, we know we have the best fan. They just show, they prove it, they stick by us all the time, and it's the best feeling to know you have support like this.
And should mention that head coach Barry Alvarez was not here. He stayed out in California. He's recruiting, and many of the Badger players did not come back. They had the option, especially the seniors, to go on and do other things if they wanted to before they came back to Madison. So not the whole team here, but the ones that were here definitely appreciated the reception, Hank.
All right, Dennis. Dennis Krause reporting from Madison. Wisconsin's basketball team is moving.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Wisconsin? I still got on my shades because it was warm down there. I'm sorry y'all couldn't be there, but I know y'all was pulling for us. I'd just like to say thanks a lot.
Now, if you'd like to see the Badger Rose Bowl experience one more time, tonight at 10 o'clock, photojournalist Mickey Leach will put together his version of the fifth quarter. I've seen and heard a little bit of this, and it's going to be a good one. Well, the trade rumors concerning Isaiah Thomas seem to have ground to a halt. Team officials for the Detroit Pistons say that they have not talked with the Knicks about a trade involving Isaiah for Tony Campbell in a draft.
Activities, it started pretty quickly, but it ended just as quickly, Tom. About 7,500 fans is what we figured. We counted each and every one of them are now gone from the scene, and they are celebrating elsewhere. But immediately after the celebration, I did get a chance to talk to star defensive tackle Carlos Fowler and asked him if he was still experiencing the high 3 days after the Rose Bowl as he had immediately after the final gun sounded. Here's what Carlos told me.
The feeling is still there. Every time I turn and, you know, see Rose Bowl stuff and knowing that we finally did it, it's going to always be there with me.
What do you have to say to the teammates who didn't make this trip?
I got to say, carry on the tradition next year, and, you know, they're all probably in Las Vegas gambling away their money. Hope they keep some of it, but they missed a great reception here, and Wisconsin is second to none as far as fan support.
All right, way to go, buddy. Yeah, it was second to none, and Tom, tonight at 10 o'clock, we will package the whole thing up for you in a nice, tidy package and bring it home.
All right, nice teddy package. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. They're probably a little bit warmer as far as the weather-wise out in California, but a very nice warm reception for the players to sit back.
Yeah, so warm they needed their shades.
You guys did good work, too, by the way. Yeah.
Sorry. Well, that's perfectly all right. Highlight.